could you read out Lucas Miller's statement for me, please?
Objection? What?
You can't do that. If you want to, Mr. Miller's right over there.
Will it be offensive if I guess or no? I'm not going to get in trouble, am I?
No, I don't take offense.
The court allows it.
nothing.
Are you an otter, sir?
How do you even know that?
Because
I've
I'm
been clocked.
fucking.
Bro knows
I'm
the
inclusive.
terminology.
I believe the episode that they're talking about was a trip from the weird tea that they gave me. The episode might have been on what happened. So.
I'm at a loss of words.
This is the prosecution side.
I'm gonna hold him right here for now because I don't know whether or not. I mean, I'm sure the judge is gonna want him out of cuffs, but he ain't. Not until the judge is here.
Okay.
What I do is
Just cuff me to the table if you want, so you know.
No, because the judge is eventually going to say, I don't want them in cuffs, and I'm going to have to take you out of cuffs. But what I always do to make sure someone is in cuffs, and I tell the judge, can you tell the person here the consequences of trying to flee or doing anything stupid once they're out of cuffs? That way there's no confusion.
It's all right, you know, I've already been fucking run over by you. What more worse can happen?
Well, I mean, it could be a lot worse, actually.
So you ran me off a fucking bike, sir. What do you mean?
Well,
you attempted to
again,
kill me, sir.
we can agree to disagree there.
So what would you call it? What would you call it?
I very intentionally pulled in front of you so that you'd slam into the side of my car on a bicycle.
Yeah. Totally.
Actually, you know what? I do want to talk to Opal, so I'm gonna move you over to the side. I don't want you to feel as though we're trying to be antisocial or anything.
No, I get it. You're just being
if you have anything to say,
you're
just speak
You're just
up.
whipping out your dick and flashing a big one on me. I get it.
Sir, I'm not whipping
So you
anything
can big
out.
dick it. It's okay. It's okay. You big dick it.
Okay.
Stand on it. I need some food and water, please.
Can you give this guy some food and water?
He was provided food and water right before the storm and feigned having a medical episode.
Is this
I
true?
also don't have any food or water.
I am hungry and thirsty, and whatever you gave me made me see bears and ducks attacking me. It was crazy, so, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I imagine you would like him out of cuffs.
Sorry, I don't give a shit. It's not my problem.
Well, so I would like to make this your problem. Can you, if I take him out of cuffs, can you let him know what the consequence of fleeing or doing anything stupid like punching officers or anything is?
Mr. Sterling,
Yes, Your Honor.
if I have you uncuffed, are you going to run out of here?
No, Your Honor.
You promise?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, if you run out of here, it's $50,000 in contempt of court, 150 months.
Okay, Your Honor.
All right. That being said, Mr. Sterling, would you like me to take you out of cuffs with you fully understanding the consequence of fleeing or, you know,
No, I want
anything?
to stand here like a gargoyle. Could you please get me out of cuffs like a human being, please?
well, you've just given me two very conflicting things. You either want to stand there like a gargoyle in cuffs or you want to be uncuffed. Which one?
Yeah, your sarcasm is pretty advanced, so I don't know if...
Okay, so I'll lower it then for, you know, to match the room. Could you uncuff me, please?
I can. Yep, I can.
Will you?
Do you want me to? Sir, I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I don't care.
Oh, no, I was asking Mr. Sterling. Mr. Sterling, do you want me to uncuff you?
I literally just asked you to.
You asked if I could, and the answer was yes.
Are you okay over there?
Do you like me to uncuff you?
Are you okay, officer?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Again,
There's could you
a
come
difference
over
here. I
here
don't
and
want there to
take
be
these
any
cuffs off
confusion.
my wrists, please?
You're asking if he can. He keeps answering yes. You're asking him. You're not asking me.
All right. I'm gonna get you out of the cuffs here, okay? I'm actually just gonna do one last search of your person. There we go. We're good. And here we are.
I'm still in cuffs, sir.
Shucks, those were the shackles. Here we are. Don't worry. And we're good.
Good boy.
Mr. Sterling, do you have any representation? Or are you going to be representing yourself?
I'm going to be representing myself as there's no lawyers present, Your Honor.
Sounds good. Are you going to be smurfing today, or?
I'm a dumbass, sir. I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing here.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Have you been shared the report yet, Mr. Sterling?
No, I haven't. Sir, they just stuck me in a corner and.
Have you been shared the report yet, Mr. Sterling?
No, I haven't. Sir, they just stuck me in a corner and you know. So we say we're missing statements. This officer there was in the cells with me for like nearly an hour, so he could have wrote his statement.
I think the more we talk around him, the tougher it's going to be for him to.
Because he's an arsehole.
Write his statement.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I can actually expedite this.
He's always horrible to me. We love Rod, though.
Your Honor, I need to make one phone call regarding a statement.
Not ready. Come on, how am I meant to prepare my defense?
Sir,
Loki,
I hate to break it to you, but this delay was entirely because of you.
Your Honor, I need ample time. Am I going to be given the same kind of time to prepare my defense?
Yeah, we'll give you some time to read the reports once it's provided you.
So I am also dyslexic, so it might take me a while.
I don't know who. I'm not sir.
Oh, sorry, Your Honor. Sorry, my bad.
I'm your liege.
Sorry, Your Liege. Apologies, Your Liege.
Would it be your liege or my liege?
It looked like it'd be my liege, but
Communism.
oh, you don't fuck with communism?
Nope.
Good answer. I don't either.
Shit, let me tell my house.
I'm gonna reduce one charge because the officer is not around. The others, though, they will. We're good. We're good. Do I have that? That.
You guys fuck with cheese sticks?
Yes.
Cheese?
So I haven't had them in a long time.
I fuck with anything that's cheese, to be fair.
When you say cheese stick, you like string cheese, like that kind of cheese stick,
No, the ones you get at stores that are kind of like
They're
fried.
some
Or
block
sorry,
of
restaurants.
cheese.
like
Oh,
like
what?
mozzarella stick.
Who?
Yeah, cheese sticks, mozzarella sticks, same thing.
No, but
Not like the
no,
breaded
cheese.
ones.
Yeah, mozzarella sticks are breaded.
My
think
Liege, can I
I'm
just
good.
say you look like Paddington Bear right now?
Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
what I said.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
what I said.
that's literally what I was going for.
You look awesome. You look
You're killing
absolutely-
it.
You look awesome.
Is this report good?
Yeah, it's good.
How many
We'll stick
officers
with
does it
this.
take to get a report ready on time,
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share this report.
As many as need to write a statement? What?
Let me know if you see the report there, Mr. Sterling.
Where would I, sorry, I don't quite, where would I be looking?
So, you grab the MDT off the table there.
Okay, yeah.
Your Honor, I do have a.
She saw it! That's so good!
Can you wait?
Look, guys, look! 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 The beachfront before being knocked off and detained!
Yeah, EMS.
No, I don't
Hi,
pay, don't say that.
just
Can you
before the
come over here?
storm, we were. Oh yeah, I can come over. Yeah.
That wind, surely that helps us with the civil suit, right?
Sterling, do you still need the EMS for witnesses?
I was
I think it was.
I was hoping to get some
think it was just a
reports to talk about, so I could cover my injuries that I sustained from the way that the officers handled me, one in apprehension and two during the cells. There were two separate times, I believe, there was excessive force used against me.
Do you guys have
objection
reports? Or-
relevance. This is a criminal case, not a civil one.
Well, okay, you can't object. We're not in court yet.
Can we be in court so I can object?
It just asked me a question. I'm answering the see what I'm dealing with.
Is it okay if they testify for it, or do you want actual reports? And secondly, do you guys have reports, EMS?
So there's one report, I believe.
I have the reports for in the cell, but the thing before that, that wasn't me, so I don't know who that would involve.
I made it very clear to the EMS that was treating me. I needed that because I was, excessive force was used against me, in my opinion.
Oh, I do think
Okay.
I see it.
Well,
So,
there is.
so
hang on.
Mr. Sterling, I'll just say this right now. I don't know how much that's going to help you here in the criminal trial. That might be something you use in like a civil trial, if that makes sense.
Maybe.
Unless you think it's going to help in your defense.
I think it builds a picture. It paints a picture, Your Honor, My liege,
Okay.
sorry. Paint a picture, my liege. Chill out, you motherfucker.
Okay, if
It's
you can
cool.
get the report from EMS, we can motion
Jill,
to
it's cool, guys. It's cool.
have it added into evidence.
Yeah. You mentioned obviously there was an incident. Before the one in the cells as well. Do you know who it was that treated
I do
you? Or
appreciate
what
you.
time
I
it
do
was?
appreciate
Just so I
you,
can
Steve.
check if
I
the
do.
report
Yeah,
matches.
I appreciate both of you.
It was Reese.
Hang on.
Alice,
Yes, Starlight.
I don't like the vibe. Go ahead and step back out and come back in. Let's try again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not
Your
not
own
the
nowhere,
statement.
sir.
That's a lot better. Thank you.
We know Cass is going to get the charges. I'm just going to be like, that's cool. Don't always do. I'm going to just try point out the shit bits that the PD have done. I'm fully expecting he's going to get it all right, but we can try and make them do a better job, right?
What's our status on all this? Sorry, I was thinking.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to proceed, my liege.
You said you still needed those reports, or?
I would like them. Yeah, I would like them.
Yeah, those reports have been shared with you.
With who? Sorry.
With yourself.
How do I get to them? Sorry.
They should be there under your shared reports.
Oh, so the same way. Okay, thank you.
As long as you're, we can share them with anyone else as long as you're happy for that.
Yeah, no, totally should share them with everyone. I don't want anyone.
Okay.
So, Mr. Cass Sterling has pled not guilty to all charges. We will go ahead and have prosecution open up with witnesses. Prosecution calling for witness.
Opal, you're the witness. Have at it.
I'm a witness. I witnessed it
Hello,
all.
Miss Opal.
Hey, Judge Bro. my liege, Judge Bo.
All right, Opal. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and other opinions, penalties, and perjuries? So help you, Matt.
I do?
All right, thank you. You're gonna be doing narrative, or you're gonna be doing questioning?
Oh, I'll do narrative, right?
I'm going to argue
Yeah,
that I did
narrative's
steal it because
best.
I
You
was
can
told I
narrative
couldn't
and
have
you
it.
can,
Okay.
You can ask questions at the end.
Alright, I was sitting in my interceptor. I believe it was on Vespucci when a white and color, I believe Vaca or sports car, either way, ran through the red light at very high rates of speed. I turned on my lights, my sirens, tried to catch up to the vehicle. Eventually did catch up to the vehicle on Bay City Avenue where the
Where's the
vehicle
Vaca? Where's the
parked
Vaca?
in the opposing lane facing northbound across from the bank. And the driver got out with knuckle dusters in his hand and started holding up locals. They put their hands up. They were visibly distressed.
Where's the Vaca? Where's
He's
the
running
pictures?
their pockets, as one would say. I claimed that they were his aunties and such, and he was just getting pocket money or something like that. Once he'd stopped, I asked him to get back in his vehicle and pull the vehicle over to the right side of the road so I could pull my traffic stop. He asked what for. I informed him. He walked back towards his vehicle, but then instead got in mine, and I said, "Get out of my car." He said, sorry, got in the wrong car. And then he drove off. I rated that in. I got a pickup. I driven to MRPD where I located the dash cam inside the vehicle, located the vehicle and the suspect off of Gentry Lane. The suspect was out of the vehicle and visible in front of the camera. It was still the same suspect. Told on where the vehicle was going, and then once units were attached, I got into the helicopter and pursued the stolen interceptor. It's driving very fast, very reckless in the opposing lane, on the sidewalk, taking reckless turns. It eventually crashed out on Lower Power Street, where the driver then foot-bailed all the way down to the Billabong. He was in handcuffs multiple times throughout. Eventually got on a bike, was ran off the bike, and then put in handcuffs.
Ran off the bike. You see that? She said ran off the bike, right? She said that.
All right, Mr. Rhodes, do you have any clarifying questions?
Ran off the bike.
No, I don't think I do, truthfully.
All right, Mr. Sterling Cross.
Hey, Miss Price, how are you today?
Hey, good.
So you mentioned a white Vaca. Well, I don't see that anywhere in evidence at all. I'm a little bit confused. A white, what is a white Vaca?
It's a sports car.
A what car?
A sports car.
Is there any reason why?
Very low
Is there any
down.
reason why it isn't in any of the evidence? Why it wasn't documented?
I mean, it's one, not relevant, and two, by the time I returned, the vehicle was gone.
If you're the witness, please don't. Please refrain from objecting. That's what Mr. Rhodes is here to do.
That wasn't even an
I
objection.
didn't object. I said
Well,
it's not in evidence because I don't believe it to be
Well, he
relevant
just
to
said
be
it's
in
relevant.
evidence. It was
Okay,
not an
sounds
objection
good.
to his
Thank
question.
you.
I answered
Okay,
the question.
I apologize if I misunderstood.
What? You don't believe it to be relevant?
Not to the stealing of the interceptor, and
But-
again, by the time I returned, it was not there.
But Bam, isn't that where you're saying this all started from, a white Vaca? But yet there is no documentation of it at all.
Do you want me to repeat for a third time that by the time I returned, it was not there? Because I can.
But you told me you were, by your very narrative testimony, you were stood pretty close to it, right?
Yeah.
You was, and you didn't see the need to document the evidence?
No, see, we in the police department, we have something called a priority. And in this case, the priority was the stolen police interceptor, which can do a lot of damage on the street.
So the evidence, just for clarity of the court, you're saying the evidence wasn't the priority.
There was no evidence to be had with the vehicle.
But you're claiming that's where it all started, yet there's no evidence of the vehicle. How do we know you're not just making that up, Miss Price? Do you have?
Okay, well, I guess you'll have to just take my word.
Okay, so you said you clocked. You said you clocked a white Vaca at what speed? Was that again, man?
No,
Did
I
you say?
said I said I watched it run a red light at high rates of speed.
So there's just to hammer this home. There is absolute no record of a white Vaca at all.
The objection are asked and answered several times now.
Yeah, sustained.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Okay. So you claim that I was doing what? What did you claim you see me doing?
At which part? I claimed you were doing.
Yeah, when you
multiple
got out
things.
the interceptor.
Oh, yeah. You had knuckle dusters, or, I'm sorry, am I not supposed to be addressing him directly? The suspect had knuckle dusters in his hands, walking up to locals, going through their pockets. They were visibly distressed. You know, you can see it in their face. They have their hands up. You know, it's
I
a very
want to-
disturbing scene.
Distress, could you, and how, you know, are you an expert in that sort of thing?
Actually, I am, because I do deal with people getting robbed multiple times a day. So yes, I am an expert. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, you drive a fast car, I'm assuming, but that doesn't mean you're an expert in Formula One. To know if someone is distressed, you would need some kind of formal training, surely.
Objection, Your Honor. Is he testifying? I'm confused.
Yes, sustained. Do you have a question here, Mr.?
I would like to know how she qualifies as an expert in the level of someone being distressed or not.
Are you asking her that?
That's what I'm trying to attain, yeah. Her saying I work with scared people, for me, isn't valid.
I did not say I work with scared people. I said I deal with hostage situations and people getting robbed every day. It's called experience, sir.
Okay. So you're somewhat of an expert.
Objection, asked and answered.
Okay, Mr. Sterling, you've asked the same question multiple times now.
Sorry, my liege. I'll move on.
Let's move on, okay?
I'll move on.
Sustained.
Sorry, my liege. I'll move on. So, you claim you saw me robbing the people that I told you were my aunts and uncles, who were kindly giving me my not my pocket money. What the fuck's the other word? My allowance. Giving me my allowance, right? You claim that you didn't believe that, and they looked distressed. That's what you claimed. If the locals looked distressed, and I was, as you say, actively robbing them, as an expert, what is the appropriate response?
I told you to stop, and then eventually you did. I was trying to strike a conversation before escalating.
And what did you said you asked me to get back in this alleged white Vaca that there's no record of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you believe you saw me robbing locals, and then you asked me to get back in my vehicle.
Objection, asked and answered. We're going in circles.
Okay, Mr. Sterling.
My liege, you got to remember, I am but a humble person trying to defend myself here. I don't have the years of experience in the courtroom as these officers. A little bit of slack would.
That's fine. I'm trying to give you some slack, but you can't be asking the same question multiple times in different ways. Okay.
Okay. I will
just ask it one time, then move on to something else. Okay.
Okay. I will try and take a bit more time between my questions.
Sustained.
Okay. Thank you. So when I read your statement, Miss Price, in the MDT, you said could you read your. Am I allowed to ask her to read a statement, or is that going to get me in trouble?
You can ask her to read parts of her statement.
Okay.
Yes.
Could you do me a favor, Miss Price, and read a bit from when you wanted to conduct a traffic stop from there?
After he was done, Sergeant Price instructed him to get back in his vehicle and pull over to the right side of the road as he was going to be conducting a traffic stop.
The next one, please, sorry.
The suspect then got into Sergeant Price's interceptor, and before Sergeant Price was able to take any real action, took off in it.
Yeah, in your testimony, it kind of conflicted with that.
Is there a question in that? I don't know what I'm supposed to
Objection.
answer.
He ain't even asking questions at this point.
Okay.
So what's your question here?
What I'm trying to ascertain, my liege, is that in a testimony,
just ask her.
How can your statement and your testimony differ?
I don't know which way you believe they differ.
You said there was no chance to have any real action, yet in your testimony, you said you took action.
I said I asked you to step out of the vehicle. Now you could ask me what I consider to be real action. I believe simply asking you to step out is not what I would consider real action. With real action, I personally would consider taking my taser or my nightstick and pulling you out of the vehicle by force. So yes. Did I ask you to step out? Yes. Did I take any physical action of removing you from my vehicle? No. Okay.
And I don't need to think. Sorry. So which one is it? Did you? I just want to am I okay? Just clarify that. Are you? Which one are you sticking to?
Objection asked and answered, because clearly, if he's asking which one she's sticking to, she done already said which one.
Just let her answer it. Overruled.
Okay. Again, I'm sticking to the fact that I gave verbal instructions to get out of my vehicle, but I consider real action to be physically attempting to remove you from the vehicle, which I did not do. So both are true.
You got your answer, Mr. Sterling?
Yeah, that's my answer. Yep, thank you. Let me just have a little cook. During your statement, during your, not your statement, sorry, during your testimony, Miss Price, you mentioned that that the suspect was ran off his pedal bike. Could you just go into that a little bit more detail, please?
I watched a scout take a, I believe, left turn, putting the scout in front of the pedal bike, and the pedal bike ran into scout. That's what it looked like from the air up, anyways.
Okay, no more questions, John. Thank you.
All right, redirect Rhodes.
No, I ain't wasting anybody's time.
All right, hopefully you can step down. All
I'm
right,
up.
Rhodes, you got another witness? Yourself?
It is I, the witness.
All right, Mr. Rhodes, you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, to help you under penalty of perjury. Say you, Buddha.
Yes, I do.
All right.
I have a quick question before he starts. Since he's prosecution, obviously can't raise any objections. Can I do it for him?
Yes, you can.
Perfect.
So, Your Honor, there I was minding my business when I
Who's Your
heard
Honor?
my liege. There I was just minding my business when all of a sudden I heard a situation on Channel 1 referring to a stolen interceptor, and I thought to myself, do they need backup or are there sufficient? So I asked, and they said, if you got something fast enough,
I'm drinking.
attach. So I attached. It's exactly what I did. In pursuing the Buffalo, it was driving very recklessly, speeds easily in excess of 120 miles an hour, taking last-minute turns, driving on sidewalks, the whole nine, my liege, the whole nine. So I'm now directly behind it. It takes a turn on Power Street. I believe it was a left southbound turn. And in doing so, I struck the rear side, which pushed it into the wall, and the vehicle got disabled. I'm thinking to myself, this gonna be it ended with the quickness. We had quite a few units because it was a stolen police vehicle, which does present, certain additional risks. Individual ran out on foot, was chased. I'm not kidding, my liege, for like maybe more than 10 minutes. For context, I think it ended or started the foot pursuit on lower power and ended by the Billabong, if you know where that is. So throughout the entirety of the foot pursuit, I was in my vehicle. I was pulling in front of the individual running on foot to allow officers the opportunity to catch up, tackle him, tase him, get him in cuffs. They were able to tackle and tase here and there, though he is quite the track star. I say that as respectfully as possible. He is quite the track star. He was zooming. He was in and out. And every time he'd approach my car, if he was angling to go left, I'd position my vehicle a little closer to there. Each time him screaming, you're running me over, you're going to run me over, stuff like that.
He actually did run me over
eventually,
twice.
He'd get too much distance from me, especially with the equipment that we carry. It's quite difficult at times to keep up on foot. So I got back in my vehicle. I learned eventually he went into the water, I think by the Del Perro beach. I then pulled up. It was then called out that he got onto a bicycle, to which I very clearly on radio said something to the extent of, I'll deal with this. I accelerated past the bicycle, which was on the sort of running parallel to the Billabong. I made a swift left turn to get the bicycle to pretty much smack into the side of my car, which is, in my opinion, one of the safest means of being able to get a bicycle to stop. And then he was placed in cuffs. Now, it doesn't actually end there. It would have. However, once the individual was in the cells, actually, let me rephrase. At that point, he did request medical attention. Medical was called immediately after. And he did specifically instruct them to document his injuries. He was referring to excessive force and all that stuff. He did ask for my name, my call sign. I provided that, 390 Matt Rhodes, the spiel I give to everybody. Eventually, he was brought over to the BCSO. He was fingerprinted, identified as Cass Sterling. He was then placed in a cell. I made sure that the only thing taken at the time was the knuckle dusters. Everything else was seized off his person. He did request food and water. In fact, he said it is our duty to provide him or to give him food and water him. To which I asked if he was a potted plant, but that's, I guess, neither here nor there. He was provided pizza by Helen. and provided I think it's called it's either a Habibi tea or Habib tea, one of the two, which I had two of them, which is why I was able to give him one, and I drank one, pretty much roughly the same time. I didn't have any, symptoms or anything afterwards, but shortly after drinking the tea, Mr. Sterling here was seemingly feigning a medical emergency, leaning up against the wall, saying things that weren't exactly making sense, to which I asked him to approach the bars. I immediately called for EMS during this time because obviously, having EMS delayed would be a terrible idea. So I asked him to approach the bars. He failed to do so. I then entered the cell, which I almost never do, on the basis that if they are having a true medical emergency, I obviously want to ensure the safety of them, us, and EMS. So I attempted to place him in cuffs. He did actively resist those cuffs. He then, shortly after, not immediately, shortly after, within maybe 30 seconds to a minute, continued on with the muttering of words. He started saying something about a bear and stuff like that, and then started swinging.
Is he calling you a bear?
He just kept saying there was a bear in the cell. He said that the cell was getting small.
They're carrying on questioning me after I asked for a lawyer.
Things that you would anticipate someone to be saying in the event of a medical emergency. He then started swinging at me. He then exited the... Well, actually, let me rephrase. He exited the cell, tried running out, but the secondary door in the BCSO was locked. He then ran back and started swinging at every officer within the vicinity. Every single one. Of note, I did in my statement put... so he swung at me. He swung at Mellon Williams. Mellon did not put the report in, which is why I reduced it to 4 counts of battery, especially considering it, we're in a bench trial. Helen, Lucas Miller, and Rick Pickle, all of which who did end up putting statements. So just to clarify, the 4 counts is going to be for me, Lucas, Helen, and Rick. He was punching every single one of us, Your Honor. Now, originally I had a flashlight in my hand, and I was swinging it. And then I thought to myself, let me pull out the nightstick. And that's exactly what I did. I swung several times, beat him down, considering he was actively punching officers throughout the entirety of that situation. He was tased at one point. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get cuffs on him. There was a bit of a situation. Regardless, we tried putting him in cuffs. Didn't work. And he was beat down. EMS arrived on scene within, I'd say, 30 seconds of him being beat down and placed back in cuffs because they're already en route from the original call when he started exhibiting the symptoms. And yeah, that is pretty much it. From my POV, I saw him get out of the original Buffalo STX when it got disabled. I saw him strike me and all the officers mentioned at the BCSO, but I was not present for the original theft of the Buffalo or anything to that extent. Yeah, that is pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it.
Hopefully, got any questions for Mr. Rhodes?
No, that covers it.
All right, Mr. Sterling Cross.
Yeah, I got some. Mr. Rhodes, we had a...
I can do a lot of things.
Let me think about how to ask this question. Sorry, my liege. I'm new to this, so obviously.
Yep.
Could you possibly expand on the conversation that happened between the scene from where you placed me in cuffs and you taking me to the BCSO? Why is it missing from the statement?
Why is it relevant?
Because I want to paint a picture of the officer's attitude towards the law.
Which, again, has nothing to do with the criminal case. And if anything, it would be a civil case.
Basically, just fill in the missing bits from the journey from where you placed me in cuffs and took me to the BCSO.
The what missing bits?
Well, there was a whole conversation that we had, wasn't it, sir?
Yeah, I'm sure we had a conversation, but I mean, I'm confused.
So do you remember the conversation?
You'll have your opportunity to come up here and say what you said.
So do you remember the conversation, sir, or not?
I've entertained so many conversations, it's hard to determine exactly which one you're referring to.
I mean, I've literally given you the time window, sir.
Yep. And
Okay, if
even
you- if
during
you
that
refuse
time,
to
I had
answer, that's
several
fine.
phone calls.
Is he allowed to refuse to answer like that, sir?
Objection, misstatement of what's happening. He's not refusing to answer.
Okay.
He just said he does not remember.
Okay, sustained. Mr. Cassidy saying he doesn't remember what happened. We're going to take it at that. If you have any other questions, let's move on.
Genuine question, my liege. What's the difference between not recalling and not remembering? Genuine question.
What are you asking me what the difference is?
Yeah, because they're claiming that he's saying he doesn't recall, but I'm saying he doesn't remember, and I'm being told that's different. So I'm just a bonehead.
No,
So if you could
I'm
explain to me
just
what
saying-
the difference is.
I'm more so answering that he's already answered your question. He doesn't recall.
Okay.
Let's
okay.
just move on to the next question.
Okay.
I mean, if you'd like to jog my memory, by all means, go ahead. I don't know the context of the conversation you're talking about. You mentioned a time frame, and I'm just, I'm not really all that great with time frame.
I've been told to move on, so I'm going to do as I was told by my liege. During what you described as an episode, could you give us a bit more detail on what you witnessed from the suspect in the cells?
Yes. Originally, I was having a conversation because at this time we were waiting for a response from a judge regarding a bench trial, alternatively the request for an attorney. So I was speaking with officers that were there, and I realized that you were towards the back. I say backside, but like if you're looking at the cell to the far left side along the wall, that would be shared with the backside of the BCSO. You were laying on the ground. Now I didn't know if you were doing this just for the purpose of laying on the ground. I then saw that you seemingly looked as if you were, I don't necessarily want to say short of breath, but like something looked off. And I tried, calling your name multiple times. You weren't very responsive. You then started like muttering random things. At that point, again, immediately called for EMS. I mean, yeah, that was kind of it. Once I was in the cell, I did let you know that I was going to be placing you in cuffs. And that's when, you actively resisted. Though before that, you were saying, I think it was before, you made mention of like there being a bear in the cell and the cell feeling small, stuff like that.
In your opinion, is that someone who's sound of mind?
Objection, opinion of a layperson.
I'm just a layperson.
But you're allowed to give your expertise on distress. But okay.
There's a difference between being an expert in something and asking medical conditions. He is a layperson. He is not a doctor. He's not EMS. He cannot give an opinion on someone who may or may not be sound of mind.
And being an officer allows you to give an opinion on if someone's distressed?
Is that a rebuttal to my objection?
Yeah. What's your rebuttal to the?
I'm trying to understand I'm trying to understand why an officer's allowed to give an expert opinion on someone being distressed, but I can't ask someone if they think that the way that person was acting is sound of mind.
Because there's a difference between an expert opinion and a layperson.
So
I'm just a wee layperson.
Yeah. So Mr. Rhodes here is not an expert on. He's not a medical professional on. Or psychiatrist of any sort, so he can't really state the sound of mind. However, he's asking for his opinion on it. He's not asking him as an expert in it. I'm going to sustain it. Let's just try to reword what you're asking. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, let me try. I'm going to try come at it from a different angle. Thank you, my liege. Mr. Rhodes, do you interact with people on a regular basis?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Would you be able to recognize usual behavior?
That is so incredibly vague. It's hard to tell. What's normal for you is not normal for somebody else. Therefore, that's like an impossible question.
I'm just thinking, Lee, because I know I'm trying not to ask the same, like you told me not to. So the episode that you described in the cells, is this something you've witnessed before?
I mean, if you asked me to like pinpoint a specific example, not quite, though having been an officer for many years, it's definitely something that has occurred. So yes, to answer your question, have I experienced it before? Yeah.
And in those, can you recur those episodes? Can you recur those other instances properly, or are they a vague memory?
Vague memory. I did clarify that in my original
I just wanted
statement.
to make sure. Okay. So you've been an officer for many years. I'm sure you've arrested thousands of criminals. Is that fair for me to say?
Probably. I don't have an exact count, but sure.
Out of those thousands of criminals, this has happened so little that you have a very vague memory of it. So is it fair for me to say that is not of the usual thing that you deal with in the cells?
Yeah, I would say it's not a common occurrence.
Come on. Okay. No more questions, Your Honor.
All right, Opal, redirect.
No, I'm good.
All right, you can step down. All righty, any more witnesses? Prosecution?
One moment.
I'm going to try and claim that Cass is too thick to not stolen.
Is there anybody we need to call down? Is there anybody that's going to testify on your behalf, or what's
What the hell?
what I guess the defense?
I will probably just do it myself. Am I allowed to? Am I allowed to do that myself? My liege?
Yeah.
How do I question my
Ventura?
Yeah.
1 second. Ventura, were you a part of this situation?
No.
All right. When it gets to that point, I want you to object to anything. Object on Mr. Sterling's behalf when it gets to it.
Okay.
I'd like to call Helen as a witness.
the lady that's been on the phone the whole time?
Yeah, she's gonna come up here. She has to hang up the phone now.
Hop out, Helen.
Understood.
Miss Helen, please raise your left hand. All right, Miss Helen, aka Hop Out Helen, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing
The
but the truth,
fentanyl.
nothing please perjury? So say you, Sab.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, just for the purpose of sticking with format, can she provide narrative as well?
Sure.
It's only in reference to the
Sure.
cell portion, anyway. It should be short.
Sure.
Jimbo.
I woke up in the BCSO barracks. I went into the cells just to kind of see what was going on. Get a sense of the vibe. I saw this guy, he's in the cells. Rhodes is there. They're arguing. I'm just kind of yapping, waking up for the day. Barely even open my eyes. Getting the sleepies out and stuff. And
You're gonna claim I
then
was
this guy's
drugged?
like demanding food. And none of us have food, so I go.
Demanding
I
food
find
is
some
crazy,
food.
no?
I
Demanding
find, a
food
stale
in
slice
their
of pizza.
custody.
Give him that. He seems happy with that. He wants something to wash it down with. Rhodes gives him a tea. Asks if he even likes tea first. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm British. What do you think?" We take that as a yes. So we give him the tea, and then we're waiting, trying to find out if he's gonna have a bench trial or not. So we're just all kind of yapping and stuff, and then we get the news like, "Yeah, you can have a bench trial after Storm," and then this guy goes real quiet. And we're like, "Sir,
we're gonna
sir,
claim. We
sir,
might
would you
claim
like your
that.
bench trial after Storm, sir?" And he's like, "1 second, I'm thinking." And we're like, "Okay." And then he continues to sit there silently for a
We're gonna
minute, and then he
slam
starts
the hell in
pacing,
what?
and he
Slam the
stands in
hell
the corner of the cell, and he starts going, "Ooh," and he kind of goes into like a partial fent fold kind of vibe. And then Rhodes enters the cell. Well, Rhodes calls EMS and is like, "Hey, we got this guy, and something's wrong here." Rhodes enters the cell. He's like,
we ain't
"Sir, I'm
doing
gonna put you in cuffs so we can get you medical." The guy, despite seeming like he was really out of it, he manages to resist cuffs. He escapes the cell. He starts saying something about a bear, which I would describe Rhodes as more of like a chubby twink, if anything. And then,
Time out.
Oh,
Rhodes, what would you qualify yourself as?
Not a chubby twink.
What do you
not a
qualify
bear.
yourself as?
this is my narrative. Not
Can I guess?
Well-
Can I guess, please?
Yes, Mr.
Will it be offensive if I guess or no? I'm not going to get in trouble, am I?
No, I don't take offense
The
to
court allows it.
nothing.
Are you an otter, sir?
how do you even know that?
Because
I've
I'm
been clocked.
fucking.
Bro knows
I'm
the
inclusive.
terminology.
I'm
He's
inclusive.
totally
Yeah.
around in the cells. Can
I've
I
What
get
the
my
fuck?
narrative,
What the
sir?
fuck?
Are you an
One
otter,
second,
sir?
1 second, Helen. This is very important to the.
I'm right. Am I right? I'm right. Am I?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
he's right. It's the first right thing today that he's done.
You see? You see
Anyways.
that?
All right, Mr. Rhodes, by the court, you're gonna be recognized as the bear. Thank you.
Well, he starts saying he sees a bear, and then he starts punching officers, just kind of indiscriminately swinging. They're like, "You're gonna get beat down," and he gets. I tase him at one point. We're trying to get him in cuffs, but he's like kind of stuck on the bars, and then he gets beat down. And then I got punched during that whole thing, and I just kind of laughed because I got punched in the face, and it didn't seem like fun anymore.
Fun.
End of narrative.
All right, any questions, Rhodes, Opal?
Did you see other officers get punched?
Oh yeah, like at least like 2 or 3 others for sure. Swinging and running.
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
All right, Mr. Sterling, Cross.
Yeah, I've got some. So, what was it? Hop out, Helen?
Just Helen's fine.
No, we'll call you Hop out. Okay. Hoppo, could you just fill us in on the conversation you was bragging about in the
Objection,
cells?
badgering. Can I please ask that counsel may refer to the witness by her chosen name, Helen, and not Hoppa?
Yeah, Mr. Sterling, you did claim you were inclusive, and then you chose not to call her by her
But
name.
I'm only calling the Hopper Helen because the lady at the back in the black hat said that they're getting a name badge for like, well, I was
Well,
literally
Hoppa's
Sterling,
more
you-
of a title. My name
Mr.
is
Sterling,
Helen.
if you want to be inclusive, you got to go inclusive all the time.
okay. What am I calling you? Sorry, you're right. Sorry, my liege.
Just Helen's fine. Thank
Sorry,
you.
Helen,
Or,
I
or Sergeant
apologize.
Highwater.
Which one would you prefer?
You know, I'll leave that one up to you. A or B.
Okay, I'll call you A then, since you said A or B. Nice. Right, A.
Okay.
Could you elaborate on the conversation you were having about, how I'd come to learn the name that you've asked me not to call you? The conversation you was bragging about in the cells while I was there, please?
Objection, relevance, maybe even scope at this point.
Which one is it?
Which one?
Both.
Let's choose one.
Objection, relevance.
Okay, how is it relevant, Mr. Sterling?
Both counsel approached the bench to have a conversation with you, sir?
Sure.
Do I not get to hear? I have to
Yeah,
walk
can you
away.
step back,
okay,
please?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put my face there, my liege. Jesus. So I'm trying to paint a picture. So I believe the episode that they're talking about was a trip from the weird tea that they gave me. And I'm trying to prove that if you're in a bad environment and experience some bad stuff, that you can end up having a bad trip. And I really believe that this story that Helen was telling beforehand could be the thing that triggered that. So I think it adds context to why what the episode might have been and why it happened. So, my liege, sorry.
I'm at a loss of words.
I got
Holy-
this.
holy fuck.
I got this. If this is the road we're going down, we are going to be later down the line objecting. The fact's not in evidence. There is no testimony. There's nothing from a doctor, a psychiatrist backing up that this is something that this is a medical condition that the defendant has. There's absolutely no evidence backing up that this was not just.
Watch.
I don't know. I don't want to say something he made up to get officers to get into the cell because I feel
Some
like
sort of
that's sensitive.
gobbledygook.
Sure. Facts not in evidence is what will inevitably get down if we keep, going down the road of Helen triggered this.
Your Honor, may I offer an alternative here?
Sure, go ahead.
Do I not get to?
Well, I haven't ruled yet, so.
Okay, I thought I
Well,
get to the ball back. So.
I feel as though if he's trying to argue that he was not in the correct mental state, unfortunately, without having seen an actual doctor and having only seen EMS, he'll never be able to prove that. Unfortunately. Which means, truthfully, this should probably be structured more as an appeal, and he should speak to an attorney at a later time after proving whatever medical aspect that he's going for at that time.
So, is it
Go
my
ahead.
God now or no?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Sterling.
I suppose the question is, why wasn't I taken to hospital? Why wasn't I seen a doctor after the episode? I was in your duty of care, right? You had full control of me.
Right. Would you also like me to mention that you ran from the hotel to the BCSO without a problem? Or
What would
do you not remember what happened between then and...
what would you want me? What?
Right. What was the interrupt there? Come on,
what
1
am I
plus
meant
1
to-
equals?
I asked you what you needed me to.
Mm-hmm.
That's really.
Rhodes objection fucking weird.
Thank you, you liege.
Yep.
Thank you, liege.
I need you to
Keep going.
understand that there was very much so an interrupt. You were being treated by EMS. They specifically indicated prior to that they can write up the report and it'll get to you afterwards. But I mean, the reality of the situation is, like, I'm sorry, but you're probably not going to get a full diagnosis, if you will, of being insane or anything in the span of 10 minutes.
So
Okay, so I'll say this. I'm gonna go ahead and roll. If they object to facts, not evidence, unfortunately, it's gonna be sustained. So the line of questioning that you're going through is probably not gonna work, Mr. Sterling.
okay.
That being said, if you want to, I mean, we can call a mistrial, and you can go for an appeal after you've talked to a doctor and had your mental state checked out, and et cetera, if you want.
And what does a mistrial mean, Your Honor? Just because I don't actually, obviously,
Pretty much it means that you're going to get sent in for your time, and you still have the right to appeal that we haven't completed
Can I have TRT?
whatever it's called, the court case.
Can't you just suggest something that would result in you not getting charged until you can get a doctor to look at you? Listen, if you're if you think you're not mentally sound, you think the doctor needs to look at you. I mean, 5150 is always there. We'll send you on
No.
the psychiatric hold until you can be evaluated, make sure you're safe for society, and then we'll just, either drop the charges if a psychiatrist finds you, unfit to stand trial or unfit of your own actions. At which point you will probably be reprimanded into the custody of a facility that can take care of you. Sure.
I guess since you can't continue to, what I was trying to get at is we established that the episode that happened was not of the normal experience of suspects in the cells, yet there was no thought of, getting a doctor down there to just double check that he was okay. Are EMS trained in those kind of things? Do we believe?
EMS.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm trying to establish: do we believe that I was actually given the adequate care that I'm owed?
I think that has nothing to do here with your criminal proceedings, though. If you want to argue that during either an appeal or a civil action that you believe that you weren't given adequate care during your jailing, that's another story, right? But it has nothing to do with the crimes that are being pushed against you today.
Does it not, Elise? I don't know. If you tell me that, then obviously, it is.
Well, are you saying that because of your mindset that you attacked 4 government employees?
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't remember that episode. They're telling what I've heard from them is that there was clearly some, in my opinion, odd and unusual behaviour, and from what Mr. Rhodes said in his testimony, was not what he's used to seeing and happened on a few occasions in his many thousands of arrests. That I'm claiming that I don't remember that, so maybe that something did happen that I wasn't of sound mind during.
Yeah,
that period of
but
time.
at this point, you haven't gotten the medical report to prove anything of that, right?
Yep, because they didn't take me to. That's my point. But they didn't.
So why
give me
didn't
the
you
option.
ask them to?
Because I was being handcuffed and treated, so I didn't. What do you mean?
My perception of you is that you like to go
Is it for? So I'm confused. Is my so?
Well, if you would have asked them, you would have said, "Hey, Mr. Rhodes, going to go to the hospital."
Hey,
What do you think Rhodes would have said?
Hey, Mr. Rhodes, I don't remember what's just happened. Could you take me to hospital? Surely their duty of care is to me, not the other way around. Or am I wrong?
Well, unfortunately, your treatment was sort of interrupted. But the reality of the situation is, if you truly felt that way, you should have communicated to us that you wanted to go and see a doctor.
How would I have no the point? I have no recollection of said episode. So how would I? You see what I'm saying?
Well, I'm no medical professional, but
Yeah, same.
I mean, I think I may have written this in my statement. I think I wrote something to the extent of like seemingly feigned medical episode.
What does feign
because
mean?
I'm
I
not
don't know.
certain.
What does feign mean?
To fake.
Okay. The objection is sustained. The line of questioning is going to be stricken.
Okay.
And here's the thing. You still have the right to an appeal, and you still have the right to civil action if you think that you were wronged in the cells, right?
Yeah, and on my bike, yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and go back.
Thank you. I just want to apologise to everyone here. I didn't, obviously, I'm not a fucking law expert.
You're good, dude.
I assumed we'd deal with it all here, right? So that's why I'm,
It's fine. No stress.
So you're good.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Miss Miss Helen. I'm going to come back to the... All right, Mr.
Give me 1 second. I just want to refresh my brain. Could you read out Lucas Miller's statement for me, please?
Objection? What?
You can't do that. If you want to, Mr. Miller's right over there. You can call him as a witness.
Can I ask her opinion on the statement, considering she's a high-ranked officer in the police force?
I mean, I'll just object on scope at that point.
What I'm trying to get at is, the competency of the police force. We've had, officers not be able to recall things and not document things, and now a officer's statement, to be quite frank, is I got punched in the cells by Cass Sterling.
I'm going to sustain the objection. If you want to, you can call Mr. Lucas Miller as a witness during your...
Okay, I will be calling Lucas Miller.
Yep, sounds good.
Can I deny?
No.
Unlucky, buddy.
Actually, yes, you can if you want to go to jail.
Yeah, deny. Go on.
Am I done?
Not right now.
No,
Not
right now.
Oh,
I thought I was
okay.
allowed to ask your opinion. I'm a bit confused because I thought I'd be able to ask your opinion, considering you are quite literally an expert.
Hey, none of this got nothing to do with your criminal charges.
Well, it is, because his statement claims I punched him. I was just, anyway, doesn't matter.
Judge, your liege, may I?
I'm just
may
about to,
I
I have no more questions
address-
for you.
1 second.
Okay.
Opal, go. Or sorry, not Opal. Helen, go ahead. What were you saying? Just give her a sec. I want to see what.
Just
what's
so you know, if you're asking me for like expert quote unquote testimony on that on the report, because this is a bench trial, oftentimes the reports we don't have our proper 48 hours to complete an entire fleshed out report. So sorry, Your Liege.
Oh, there was a bug. I saw a girl. I saw.
There she is.
Yeah,
Hopper
but
Helen.
officers who do not
Can't hop on
have
nothing.
time to
I-
complete their
I know.
statement can give their testimony in court.
Yeah,
So you're more
I
than
know.
welcome to call me to the stand.
Yes.
I'm not telling you, Your Liege. I was informing him.
Is that normal for the witness to inform the defense and things like that?
No, but I'm trying to help you, sir.
Okay. Well,
Just, let's move on.
Considering you've apologized several times for not being experienced, I would hope you would take the friendly tip advice.
yeah, advice from the
Let's
very
move
person.
on.
trying
Let's
to
move on. Let's
prosecute
move on.
you? What?
I'm already tired of being here. Let's move
Okay.
on.
Like I said, I have no more questions for Helen. I did try to say that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Helen, go ahead, step down. All right, prosecution done with your witnesses.
Yeah.
All right, defense. Call your first witness.
Ventura. Was it Ventura? You said the guy with the dark hair is not. He's not here to.
Do you want to call yourself?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Can somebody grab Ventura?
I'll see if he's outside. I'm saying.
They're
I'm
all
sure you're
hating me
needed.
right now, aren't they?
I'm sure you're needed to object for him.
Bye bye.
All right, Ventura. This guy doesn't have a lawyer.
Okay.
So if the prosecution objects to anything, I want you to help him. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Sterling, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, my liege.
All right, Mr. Sterling, raise your left hand. All right, Mr. Sterling, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, nothing but the truth? So say you on.
I do.
All right, go ahead.
So I guess this all started when I was, collecting my wealth, not my allowance from my auntie and uncle, just by babysitting. When was it Miss Price? Was it Miss Price?
Sergeant Price, thank you very much.
Miss Price pulled up and
Yeah, Sergeant Price, thank you very much.
Miss Price.
Remember being inclusive. Inclusive. Be an
Okay.
ally.
Okay, Sergeant Price pulled up, and I'll be honest. She basically said, I think she said, really. I said, what's wrong, ma'am? I'm just getting my allowance from my auntie and uncles. So I continued collecting my allowance. She then asked me to get in a car. So, Your Honor, I'm not the brightest. I'm not the brightest person. Never claimed to be. I got into the car that was closest to me, as I was asked to. I got in the car and started to drive. Your Honor, there was all the keys in there, sir. I'd assumed that I was allowed to take the car. The car had its keys in, so I drove away. So, at this point, I must admit, I started to black out and get a bit scared. I was driving around, and then there was all these flashing lights and people screaming at me, loud chopping noise, and then there was someone in what's that big truck called? The big 4x4 thing? It's,
Oh, a Cara? That one?
What's that one? What does that look like?
A truck?
A truck? What's a truck? Is that the one? Has it got an open or a closed back?
Open back.
No, the one with the closed back. The one you were driving.
The Scout?
The one you were
the
driving.
Scout?
Oh yeah, that thing. I could just hear it eating the road behind me. And I was thinking, oh my fucking God, what have I got myself into? Why did that lovely lady ask me to get in the car and drive off? Why did she ask me to do that? Why did she tell me to get in the car? And now I'm getting chased by this fucking big ass vehicle and a helicopter. I think it was a helicopter. It's a helicopter. I think it was a helicopter chasing me. And all these police sirens. I think they're police sirens anyway. And anyway, next thing I know, I get slammed into a wall. I'm like, please don't hurt me, please, I give up. Start to take off down the road because I was absolute, I must admit, like squeaky bum, Your Honour. My arsehole was, it was kissing the cloth, So I started running. Next thing,
yeah, you're so understood by the court that your ass is puckering.
it was literally puckering, yeah. So I'm running. I get run over by the guy in the Scout. Then I get tased by another officer. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Why am I getting run over? What the fuck? It was so brutal, Your Honour. I was absolutely terrified for my life. So I ran. I kept on running. Some may say, you ever watch Forrest Gump, Your Honour? You ever watch Forrest Gump, Your Honour? My liege, have you ever watched Forrest Gump?
Say that again.
Have you ever watched Forrest Gump?
Yes, I have.
You know, you could say I was a bit like that scene. You know when his leg braces break off.
Yeah.
And he's just gone.
I started running.
Yeah, I
And
started.
then I stopped running.
Exactly. So I started running, and I was getting run over and tased, and I must admit, you know, it wasn't my smartest decision, but it's not my fault. I'm fucking stupid. I just didn't know what to do. I started running. I ran through the thing. I think at one point I was in some water, and then I was on a bike, and then the next thing I know, that fucking big what was it called again? Scout? Was it a scout?
Oh, the scout? Yeah.
The scout, Your Honour, fucking ran me off my bike at about 60 miles an hour. And when I said to them, what are you doing? Do you know what the officer shouted at me? Do you know what the officer shouted at me? That's not running you off, sir. That's called London style. No, I don't know what that means, but it was...
Where are you from? Where are you from, Mr. Strong?
I'm from the UK. And the London style,
London?
for me, would mean you would get stabbed, sir. You know, and I would hope that no officer would...
No, that's being chef the fuck up.
I would hope that no officer would be implying
I thought that was being called Gordon Ramsay.
So they said London style. I'm like, holy shit. Anyway, I was in and out of consciousness, and you know, I'm in cuffs. And then one of the other officers, I don't know what his name was, but he had darkish hair, like brownish hair, I think. Do you know what he said? He ran up and he said, "Shall we get him, lads, and drop him off at the besties block? See what they want to do to him?" I said, "You fucking what?" I said, "You're a police officer. Not only have you just ran me over, tased, tackled, beaten me, and treated me like a piece of fucking meat, you're now threatening to drop me off at what I can only guess is a gang's turf, Your Honour, and leave me for the wild animals to do what they want, to descend on me. No, this is unbecoming of what I believe a law enforcement officer should be." And then they took me in the car, and we're going to talk about the journey from Vespucci Beach all the way to the BCSO. I'd asked for a lawyer, but you know, Mr. Rhodes was still talking to me about the case because you know he doesn't have any regard for the law. As he told me, I said, "So, do locals have rights? Because you know, you're claiming that I robbed them allegedly. I'm telling you they were just giving me my allowance." Mr. Rhodes said, "You're not allowed to rob locals." And I again, I don't claim I was. I was getting my allowance from them. I asked him a subtle question. I said, "Mr. Rhodes, so when you run over locals when you're in a chase, does that count as manslaughter?" And he said to me, this is what he said to me. And Mr. Rhodes, keep me honest here, please. He said to me, "There's such thing as intent, right? And intent matters." And I believe, and maybe I'll get this wrong, so maybe we can clarify this. What I understood from what he was saying is the intent of your action towards the locals is what matters, right? Is what matters. Now, I'm telling you, I was getting my allowance from my aunties and uncles. That was my intent. So I'm a bit confused on why I'm being treated differently and why the officers of the law are allowed to commit manslaughter, and because their intent isn't that, they get away with it. So I'm a bit confused. And anyway, Mr. Rhodes then took me to the cells, and I will admit, I got to the cells, I was a little bit pissed off. I had was it Lucas Miller? Lucas Miller was up in Sandy bragging and trying to rub it in my face and being all antagonistic thinking he's a bit of a clever dick, You ever heard that phrase, Ron? A bit of a clever dick. And
does that have to do with spotted dick or?
No. Spotted dick's a dessert. A clever dick's someone who thinks thinks they're smart, thinks they're clever. He's giving me all kinds of comments and snarky remarks. And anyway, I asked multiple times for food and water because I was really, really hungry and I was starting to dehydrate. And the comments I got from the deputies were basically that they didn't have to give me food and water. I'm like, you have a duty of care to me. I'm in your custody. You have to look after me. I had to ask them about 3 times for food. And I believe that the tea that was supplied to me by Mr. Rhodes is something that I drank it, and about 3 minutes later, the last thing I remember having a conversation with them was, do I want a bench trial? And then the next thing I kind of remember is the EMS kind of giving me help and helping me back up. And that's when I asked for a medical on what happened, because I'll be honest, my liege, I don't have much of a recollection. I'm guessing I've got no clarified question to myself.
I mean, sure. Do you have any clarified questions for him?
Just remember, Ventura, you're on the opposite side.
Did they verbalize to you what they were gonna do?
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
The threats of London style, or I guess the comments made of something having happened had been London style, quote unquote, were threats that if you, for example, if you do this, we will do that. Were they issued to you throughout the pursuit?
Not during the bike. They did in the water. They told me if I didn't get out of the water, I'd be beaten. When I was on the bike, I just got ran over in a skate.
I don't know. I don't have any questions.
Mr. Sterling, regarding the vehicle that you originally drove off in, the Buffalo, the police car.
The what? Sorry, sir.
The Buffalo.
Could you describe it to me? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a 4-door sedan with a flat ass.
What's a sedan? I don't know what a sedan is. Sorry.
Ooh.
Doesn't sedan mean 2-door?
No,
That's a coupe.
No?
Sedan is a 4-door car, not truck.
Yeah. The police car that you were driving, but we'll just clarify with that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry.
Yeah. Did you have permission to drive that vehicle?
The keys are there, and I didn't not have permission, so I guess it depends on your look. Where I'm from, that's
Okay,
if you have keys,
so-
you're fully, you're allowed anything you want.
Okay. Did you have the keys?
Yeah, they were there. They were in there for me. Yeah.
Okay. Who gave them to you?
No one gave them to me. They were left there for me. She told me to get in the car.
For you. So this was a prearranged thing in which the plan was for you to get into a police car. Is that correct?
What do you mean by prearranged? As in,
Well, you said they
left
were
there?
meant for you, right? Typically,
they
if
were-
something is meant for you, there's an arrangement regarding, somebody leaving something behind specifically for you, right?
But they were there for me. Yeah.
And who left them for you?
I would assume it was Sergeant Price, because she told me to get in the car.
Right. Now, if you were being chased by police while in a police car, why didn't you just surrender the vehicle?
I told you I was scared for my life. Where I'm, you were screaming, shouting at me. Where I'm from, police don't behave the way that the police behaved here. I'm used to politeness and manners.
Girl, don't be lying when you confused about a London style. That's apologies, Your Honor. That wasn't a question. Sorry. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. The keys to the vehicle were left in the vehicle, and as a result, you
Objection.
assumed it to.
Asked and answered.
You can't
You're,
object?
Yeah, I
you're a
didn't.
witness
didn't-
right now.
You didn't finish his question.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
waiting for it.
Sorry. Oh, what? I'm not allowed to object now.
Well, I hired a
can't
guy for
understand.
you to object
Oh,
for
sorry.
you.
Sorry.
He wasn't done his
You
question.
know
I was
what?
waiting for him to finish.
Out of his lack of knowledge within the court system, I'll withdraw that. I just want to make sure I get this right. You were not specifically told to drive the car, correct?
Sorry, ask that one more time.
Were you told specifically to drive the car?
No, I wasn't. But I also wasn't told not to drive the car either.
Do you recall a statement from Sergeant Price regarding getting out of the car?
As I stated, her statement and her testimony didn't match, so I don't acknowledge that.
Okay. I don't know if I have any more.
I think they hate me. They actually hate me right
Actually,
now.
I do have some more clarifying questions. What did you have in your hand when you were getting your allowance from your aunties and uncles?
The cash. Oh,
Sorry, I was looking at the charges. Did you plead not guilty to everything?
yeah, not guilty to everything.
We know that one of the charges was wonky. Anyways, aside from cash, what else did you have in your hand?
My gloves?
Aside from your gloves and the cash,
Objection,
yeah.
relevance.
Your Honor, Opal here mentioned that these individuals were in distress, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of what was
Well,
in his hands.
Well, it's irrelevant because he's not being. He's already stated that he had what was it, knuckle dusters or something earlier. But you're only charging him with brandishing of a firearm. I mean,
Okay, to be fair, that was adjusted.
that's on you.
Actually, my liege,
Yeah.
in a bench trial, don't you have the ability to reduce charges?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, sick. Can I make a request?
I think I could do it at the end.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
No, I think that's all. Opal, you got anything? Okay. Actually, that's not all because we
What?
need to fast forward to the second instance. Actually,
Your Honor, my liege, how many times are they going to finish and not finish? It's, it's like a really poor edging video.
with the amount of circles you ran, we could probably do this for several more hours.
What are you referring to in terms of the circles I ran, sir?
Do you not remember how many asked and answered we had to go through?
Yeah, but you're trained So to be honest, so you know, I'm not. What do you expect from me?
Yeah, well, listen, we're just gonna proceed. we're gonna proceed here. Mr. Sterling, do you have any allergies to food?
Question relevance.
Your Honor, he's attempting to claim he had some kind of bad reaction to either the food or the drink provided to him.
I'm having a hard time finding the relevance, Mr. Rhodes.
Huh?
Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 questions to get to your point. Okay.
Okay, perfect. That's all I need.
Sustained.
Mr. Sterling, are you allergic to anything in pizza?
I'm sorry. How can I possibly answer that question? You could literally have anything on. What?
Fair. I'll withdraw that.
That's one question. That's one, right?
question.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Mr. Sterling, are you comes to tea?
What's
You wouldn't happen to be weak in like the tea category, right?
Objection confusing.
I got it again.
Weak in the tea category.
He's got a point.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So that's
the
his question,
symptoms
right?
only
Clarify your
drinking
fucking
tea and
Clarify your fucking
That's his 2 questions, my liege.
And that's the second question. You're out.
Yeah.
Your Honor,
Surely.
that's fine. Can I get an
Rhodes-
answer to it?
Rhodes-
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'd really like to hear the answer to that question.
really-
though.
Rose,
Just
can you say the question one more time?
I can't say it verbatim, but it's essentially, Mr. Sterling, especially from where you from, there ain't no reason to be weak when it comes to tea. How come you had such a
Objection, stereotyping.
Rose,
No,
if you
the
want to
bitch
call
that
him a
works
pussy
in
bitch,
Pro-
just say it.
I'm literally being profiled right now. How is that being allowed? I thought we was meant to be
Council's being
allies.
shady. Council's being shady.
Objection to the objection. This guy, when we asked him if he liked tea, he said, "I'm British. What do you think?"
Mm-hmm.
He stereotyped himself.
He's a
That was
weak
in my-
Brit,
that
is
was
what
in
I'm
my
getting,
narrative.
Your
Open
Honor.
door, Cass.
He's a weak Brit, a phony.
Can I ask a question, my liege?
He's a weak Brit, a phony.
Can I ask a question, my liege?
Go ahead.
Is it only the Brits that drink tea, or
I would say it's a very big thing that the Brits drink tea, and also you called yourself a Brit earlier.
yeah? But what was it? What was the name of the tea again?
It was either Habib or Habibi tea.
That sounds very British to me.
I just want to clarify that England and/or the UK is a very open-minded country. With it's a melting pot, and I'm not going to get any farther
Is
than
it?
that.
Your Honor, it's okay. Well, I don't have any more questions regarding
Thank God.
tea. I've already established he is a weak Brit when it comes to tea.
If it was English breakfast tea, you know, Habibi tea.
So-
Was it Habibi tea? That's definitely not British.
It's okay. Listen, it's okay to be weak. You can't be good at everything.
I'm very
It's
okay
all right.
with that. I'm not good at everything. Totally not.
Do you recall punching any officer in the cells?
No, I do not.
Okay. Well, shucks. If you don't recall that, this is going to be a little difficult.
Just like you didn't recall the conversation, you know?
I did ask that you jog my memory and where it went on.
Try to jog my memory.
Okay. Yeah. The punching, the screaming. Do you remember any of that?
No.
No, I tried. And just to verify, you do recall waking up to being asked for a bench trial alongside being treated by EMS, right?
Yeah, I do remember that. EMS, I think I was on. I just remember being in the cells and then you saying something like, "No, Mr. Sterling, I need to know if you want a bench trial." Because you was more worried about that than my health, you know.
Well, actually, you were being treated as you stated by EMS.
Bastard.
Neither here nor there.
You can't you cannot ape petty roads.
I want to say we've covered most things. Let's take a gander here. Actually, Mr. Sterling, are you known to be a violent individual?
Define violent. Isn't violence relative?
Violent is described as using or involving physical force intending to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something.
Violence is to sex. Go again one more time.
Using or involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something.
Where I'm from, that's just how we are. Dog eat dog out there, you
So
know?
being violent is just a way of life.
I
right?
don't necessarily see it as violence, you know. It's a perspective thing.
Got it. So because it's your norm,
What's the relevance
it's okay
of this?
to do. Well, you were violent here, and I'm just trying to establish whether this is a one-off or if this is just a characteristic of Mr. Sterling.
And are we talking about the episode I don't remember? That you're
Was you
claiming
not tuned
happened in
into the
cells?
same episode as us?
I think I've been very clear that I don't recall you're alleging that I was punching officers in the cell. I've been pretty
Okay.
clear that I don't recall that.
Got it. All right. Yeah, I think that's all the questions I got. I don't think aside from circles, I don't think we're getting anywhere.
Thank you. All right. You can step down, Mr. Cass.
I have a question.
Oh, God. Of course you do.
Mr. Cass, do you have any questions for yourself?
No, I don't. Thank you, sir.
Okay, no more questions.
Thank you, my liege.
Mr. Sterling, do you want to call Lucas to the stand now?
Yes, I do. Lucas Miller, please.
Mr. Miller, you look like you got a little pep in your step today.
Yep, happy to be here.
Raise your left hand. Mr. Miller, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you under penalties of perjury? So say you.
Yes. Amen.
All right, you're sworn in. Mr. Cass, you're a witness.
Could you give us narrative testimony for sake of format, a bit like Roadust?
Can I deny that?
Why?
Because I can't.
You can't.
Just say what you remember.
Wow,
It's okay.
This is insane.
I responded to an interceptor being stolen.
I've got so many things I want to...
When I heard the interceptor got stolen, I attached to the chase. It crashed out pretty much as I got there. It was a foot pursuit. It went on all the way to Spoochie. He got on a pedal bike. Next time I saw him, he was in cuffs. And I got assaulted in the cells.
Is that the end?
Yep, that's the end.
Am I first, my liege? Mr. Paddington, am I first?
Not to lie to you guys, I was zoned out. What happened?
You missed nothing, my
Mr.
liege.
Miller, do you want to repeat your testimony so that our liege can hear it?
Yeah.
You need me to repeat the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing. Just because you didn't want to do it, I'm going to make you do it again.
Okay, so I attached to a pursuit of an interceptor because there was an interceptor stolen. Then as I got to the chase, he was crashed out in a foot pursuit. The foot pursuit went on for a while, all the way to the beach, Spoochie Beach. I held over radio. He got onto a pedal bike, and by the time I got to the pedal bike, he was in cuffs. Then we went back to BCSO. By the time we were at BCSO, you know, it went on for a while. We did stuff, and then I got assaulted.
All right. Any questions for him, Cass?
Yeah, of course. You said at the BCSO you did stuff. What was this said stuff?
Witness you get processed.
Witnessed me get processed?
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Miller, could you read your statement that you've provided in the MDT for me, please?
Pretty long one. Are you sure you got time for this?
Maybe.
Could I get a yes or no, please?
That's what the whole court is made of, time, right?
Could I get a yes or no, sir?
You're the witness. Read the statement.
I said I got punched in the cells by Cass Sterling. Full stop.
Okay. How long? You said it went on for quite a while in BCSO. Any? Could you if you to put your finger in the air and estimate how long? How long would you say?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So would you agree that is a long enough time to write an appropriate statement?
I would agree.
Okay. So you were in the cells doing nothing but watch me get processed and didn't feel the need to even write a statement.
I was on the
Objection! That's not even a question.
You got a point?
He's testifying. It was your turn before, but not now.
Do you think the statement that you wrote is of an appropriate level for an officer of your stature, Mr. Miller?
I was under the assumption in the cells I would have the full 72 hours to write my statement. And I found out literally 5 minutes before the bench trial was meant to start. I was going to bench. It took you a while to answer yes or no. So I didn't feel rushed to do the statement. Obviously, when I found out I needed to do the statement, I articulated what I needed to in the short period of time I had.
Mr. Miller, did you hear when you was you said you were there when I was knocked off the bike and placed in cuffs? Is that correct?
No, it's not what I said.
Would you like to clarify?
I heard over the radio that you got onto a pedal bike, and by the time I was there, you were in cuffs.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for putting words in your mouth there. Apologies. Did you hear what the officer said about taking me to the besties bar?
I don't recall.
Oh, bit of a theme. Bit of not very good recallers.
Started by someone.
Yeah, not a lot of recallers. Okay, interesting.
Objection. No question asked.
Do you have a question?
Mr. Miller. Oh no, actually, you said that would be different court, didn't you? Fuck. I suppose, Mr. Miller, you were watching. You were at the BCSO watching me be processed. Could you describe the episode that the other officers had described from your point of view?
I wasn't paying attention the whole time. But you started standing in a corner, just making some weird noises. So we called EMS, and then Rhodes went in there. You stood up, started saying he was a bear. And then when he tried to put you in cuffs, you managed to resist. You know, he was trying to make sure the EMS was safe. And then he left the cell when you ran out with him and started assaulting everyone, including myself.
And by assaulting...
me.
Oh, sorry, what did you say?
You punched me, sir.
I have no recollection, so, you know, I can only...
Objection, counsel is testifying.
You punched me.
What is he testifying by saying that he doesn't remember?
Well, yeah, that's not his turn. I motion that you strike that from the record. His turn is to ask questions, not say he doesn't recollect what the officer is testifying to.
Cass?
I mean, I was just kind of replying to Miller saying I punched him. I was, you know, trying to be human about it. Apologies, you're lazy.
Just make sure you're asking questions. Don't add any of your flair into it, okay?
Apologies, my liege.
Thank you.
So, when I was apparently punching officers, Miller, could you describe that to me? A bit like Helen did.
You really liked your right hook, and you just right hooked everyone repeatedly, like everyone. Must be your strong arm.
It is my strong arm. Everybody. You say everybody.
I recall. Yeah, it was pretty blurry, to be honest. I caught a hook, so.
Okay, so I
witnessed at least 3-4 people catch it straight.
Okay, and how many people would you say were in that vicinity?
3-4.
Okay. Would you, if you were to describe it in a few words, how would you describe that episode?
Objection, asked and answered.
Yes.
It wasn't asked and answered. I'm asking him to describe it, not tell me what happened.
He actually asked about the episode earlier. He's just now telling him to describe it in fewer words, and I don't think that should be given the time of day.
Just so I have it on the record, it's overruled. Just be brief, please, Miller.
An outburst.
An outburst. No more questions, Molly.
All right, Rhodes.
I mean, you've already indicated a bunch of things. You covered. I don't think I have any clarifying questions, to be honest. Yeah, I don't. You, Opal? You have any clarifying questions?
No.
Yeah, no. You're good. You're good.
You're doing great, Miller. Doing
All right,
great.
you stepped down, Miller.
Thanks, Opal.
All right, any more questions? Or Cass, you have anyone else you want to call?
No, I can cover.
Thank God. All right. Prosecution, do you have any evidence you want to highlight and do a closing statement?
Yes. Yes, we would. If you take a look at the seized knuckle dusters, those were on his person. Additionally, if you take a look at the evidence on scene, you will see. Just a moment. 1 second.
We got this. I think
you will see blood, casings, and projectiles. Those casings and projectiles stem solely from tasers. So, those were our attempts to subdue the individual without having to resort to, any sort of increased level of force. Unfortunately, it ended up getting beaten down, and it is what it is.
I'm going to point that out. Vehicle was not
Additionally,
tampered, guys.
if you take a look at the interceptor recovered at MRPD alongside the dispatch and, it not being tampered with, that is perfectly in line with the fact that, it wasn't lockpicked or anything. Seemingly keys were found within it, which is in line with, everything that has essentially been stated. But yeah, just to clarify, the seized knuckle dusters were the original intent behind the brandishing a non-firearm charge. I erroneously selected the brandishing a firearm charge and hope that my liege take that into consideration when using their judicial discretion to reduce a charge in a bench trial from brandishing a firearm to brandishing a non-firearm. Outside of that, that's pretty much it.
You want to do a quick closing statement, or are you good?
I'm good. I don't think it's necessary.
Cass, anything you want to highlight in your closing?
Yes. I would like to highlight Mr. Pickle's statement, particularly the first half of that. I'd like to highlight the lack of evidence when it comes to the claimed white. What was they claimed a white? What? Some Vaca, I think it was. I said a white Vaca that there is no record of whatsoever. I would like to also point out that the vehicle wasn't tampered with, Your Honor. You know, it was not tampered with. I would like to also point out that there was also discrepancies between statements and dialogue. And that's it, Your Honor. I would like to do a statement, though, closing statement, if possible.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fuck, I'm hungry again. Holy shit. So, Your Honor, today, it's alleged that I was originally, speeding in some white Vaca. That there's no, there is literally no evidence that it even exists. It's alleged that I assaulted some officers in a cell. Just me. There was 5 to 6 officers, and I somehow overpowered them all, and accosted them all. I hurt them all, Your Honor, which is, you can fathom that these are highly trained officers, and I'm just me. I would like to also point out there's been lots of incompetence, Your Honor, lack of evidence collection. Officers bragging about hopping out on, There's been officers not even doing statements, Your Honor. It's, this is full of absolute incompetence. One officer's statement didn't even match a testimony. They have conflicting statements. If you read Mr. Pickle's statement, he clearly states I was ran off the road by the scouts. It clearly states I was run over the road. Yet the other officers state that's not the case and that he pulled in front of me. Is it Mr. Rhodes? Mr. Rhodes claims that he does not recall the conversation that we had in the car. Competency question. And yet, Your Honor, they've also acknowledged that they've trying to push the wrong charge on me, Your Honor. I think that this just shows all the signs that we have an incompetent police force. And I would like to point that if why I was originally being followed was that I was in a white Vaca that there's no evidence of, then this whole thing is a mock. Is a mock. It should be thrown out, Your Honor. Absolute mockery. Thank you.
Anyone else want to add anything before I go deliberate?
Yeah, that's wild coming from the person who claims to not remember much.
Is that directed at me?
What?
Yeah, well, you just asked.
Objection argumentative.
There was nothing. You done said you don't
Does
remember.
anyone? We've been here right too long. Does anyone have it? You want to add before I go deliberate?
Nope.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna go deliberate.
Thank you, your liege.
All right, I'm back from deliberation.
Welcome back.
Oh
your
wow, that was
liege.
quick.
Thank you.
My liege.
Nice seeing you back here. It's been so long. I kind of missed your face.
Yep.
my liege.
All right, Mr. Sterling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is still happening.
What the fuck?
Thank you.
I just went and deliberated. Mr. Sterling.
Yes, my liege.
You are going to be found guilty of a theft of a government vehicle as you drove the government vehicle, the Interceptor, without permission. You are going to be charged with reckless evading, as was stated by officers that you drove on the sidewalk, oncoming lanes of travel, and quote-unquote turned at the last second, which I don't know what the fuck that means. You're going to be found guilty of resisting arrest, as was stated by officers that you ran from Lower Power Street all the way to the Billabong, and then jumped onto, quote-unquote, was in the report evidence, a boke, as there was a boke stolen on scene. Don't know what that is, but apparently you jumped on a boke. You are going to be found guilty of failure to obey traffic control devices as you was in the statement of Opal and in her testimony that you did not obey traffic control devices. You ran the red light before you went and got money from your aunties and uncles. Based on the statement of officers on scene, Rick Pickle, Matt Rhodes, Lucas Miller, and Eleanor Highwater that were assaulted by you in the cells while you were running around. You're going to be found guilty of 4 times battery on employee.
Fuck's sake.
Now, the last charge of brandishing of a firearm, you didn't have any firearm on scene, so I'm going to find you not guilty of brandishing of a firearm, but I'm going to be knocking that down to brandishing of a non-firearm. That's going to be the ruling of this court. Let's get out of here. Anybody got questions?
Thank you, my liege.
What?
We would like to know. Are we sending him for full time? How much
Up to
time
you.
off is
Up to
he
you.
getting?
Just get him some time off. We've been here for fucking 2 hours.
What?
We'll send him 499.
That is actually
It's a
insane.
joke. That was a joke. I'm joking.
We've been here for 2 hours, so.
I know. I'm joking.
Okay.
Huh.
Fucking put that away in my courtroom.
The bench trial was requested 3 hours ago.
Mr. Sterling, come over here.
You can meet me in the middle. Come on, you can meet me in the middle. I'm not coming all the way to you for you to good point me. No way.
All right. So prior to any reductions, you're looking at 170 months and a $14,000 fine and 5 points on your license. Now, I will say most of that fine, I should rephrase. A good portion of that fine comes from the 4 counts battery of a government employee. There should have been 5, but one officer didn't write their statement, so we dropped it down. What would you find to be reasonable, given the circumstances from the original 170 months? Because unfortunately, the fine is not negotiable.
No, I know. Well, time served I think would be great, but I'm not the officer doing so. So I'll go with whatever you. I don't really have much choice, so I get what I'm given, right?
Do me a favor. Go back to go to your desk over there. I'll speak with Opal.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm getting straight off this character and going on cop, so it doesn't literally matter.
You shouldn't say things like that.
All right. Mr. Sterling, upon speaking with the involved officers at hand, we're going to go and taking into account time served, we're going to reduce it down from the original 170 months down to 2 months.
Oh, good shit.
I'm going to be fining you the amount of $14,000.
Thank you.
There you are. And it's gonna be 2 months. You have any comments, questions, or concerns?
No, we're good. We're good.
All right. If that's the case, are you content with me having DOC pick you up from here?
Of course, of course.
All right. Well,
I'll give it a lot
go ahead and get a hold of them. You have been fined, so we are good. Uno momento.
Anyone here got food?
Should we run and grab? Should we run and grab
Dispatch
Miller?
390. We're gonna have Cassie
can't.
Sterling being sent up for 2 months.
Of course, I would never give you.
All right, they're ready for you. Good luck. Stay safe.
Especially these. Oh, throws.
Don't do anything violent.
Oh.
Oh, so will it. Thank you for watching our latest video. We've seen what Dee's been getting up to. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, give it a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.
Hey. Hey.